femininity in the West, trying to ape men. How can that be healthy for women in society?
Why do you call it aping?
Because they feel
men,
that
when there's simply a natural competition.
No, there isn't. There shouldn't be
between
a natural
people,
competition.
whether they're men or women.
That is where I disagree with you very strongly, because in Islam there isn't a competition between men and women. There is in Western society.
No, competition between people. Why separate them into men and women?
Well, you said the natural competition between men and women. In Islam, men and women, if you know the Taoist theory of yin and yang, where the masculine and the feminine come together to make a whole and to make society healthy. And the minute you start destroying that femininity of women, you've lost half of the yin and the yang. You've got confusion in society.
Do you feel inferior to a man?
No, I don't. I feel different. I feel very different to a man. I'm very different to my husband.
But yet you support a system where your evidence is only half the value of that of a man's in court.
That is in economic matters. The verse in the Quran dealing with the half witness is to do with economic matters. Now, again, studies have shown.
But you told a radio program that it was because you felt nervous when you went into court, and women were more nervous than men.
Bring in Radio 4, why don't you? You're going to use that
it's something you said.
Well, yes. Okay, no, the real reason is.
Do you disagree with what you said?
Yes, I do. Yes.
Oh, okay.
The Quranic verse was very clearly. Right. The Quranic verse is very clearly about economic matters, and we know from scientific studies that women excel in verbal skills, which is why we're so good at talking, and men excel in different kind of skills, and they are better at monetary matters. That's the only reason to make it easier, but it doesn't mean that a woman does not have a right to stand in court.
Khola Hassan, thank you very much indeed. Let me take some questions from the audience. Does anybody have a burning issue that they'd like to discuss? A gentleman over there.
This is to Khola. How can you claim that the term equality is not suitable, while you have in an Islamic court, for example, you still have some ulama saying a woman's testimony is half that of a man?
As I said earlier, we need to find our own solutions. Going to the West is not going to
It's not going to the West. What's wrong with equality?
Well, equality, as I said again earlier, that there is equality in front of God, in front of the law in Islam. But there are gender differences for which Islam caters. For example, men have been declared the maintainers of women, so they have got a moral obligation to provide financially for their wives. Now, that does not mean that women are not allowed to go out to work, but it does mean that for the family, the best thing is if the woman, especially in the early formative years of a child's development, if the mother is at home. Now, what we have in modern society...
Can we just bring Toujan Faisal in here? She wants to...
This reminds me of George Orwell's Animal Farm, in which the pigs come and say, all animals are equal, but some are more equal. With this but, all the evil starts. There are no buts in Islam. And my colleague here said that this is a notion, it's not a Muslim, it's not an Islamic notion, the notion of equality. No, it is an Islamic notion. He says that God has created us and we just serve the role for which God, our creator, prepared us. This is a notion from the church in the Middle Ages or in the Dark Ages, when the church dominated, when the church was corrupt and was allied with the corrupt monarchies. Then they said that God has created you to fit this place, so keep your place, don't have any aspirations to the other classes.
All right, Dr. Suwaidan.
I'd like to say something on this. Again, it's the right to choose. I have done a full study on women in Islam, women in Islamic history. Let's take the clear example of Khola bint Al Aswar. Khola bint Al Aswar, a companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him, and she was a fighter.
Was she required to fight?
No, she was not, but she chose.
Exactly.
She chose to fight. Now, that's what we're talking about. Let's not blame this on Islam. And I agree with Jihad and Khola on this. This has nothing to do with Islam. It's tradition and dictatorships and the occupation of the West to our world that have caused us into this situation. If we apply the true Islam, the clear Islam, we will have no problems. Khola chose to be a fighter. She killed 9 men. She was so skilled at fighting. Now, is she looked upon in Islam at a high standard or a low standard?
Well, let him answer that.
A very high standard. I was told the story when I was a little girl, and I was very proud of my name.
So she chose to. Yes. She chose to fight.
But
now,
she
her
was
physical ability.
Dr. Tareq, but whose standard are we watching here? According to which standard are women being measured? They're being measured according to a standard that's set by men. A university professor from Stanford University told me once that if a woman aspires to be as good as a man, then she has no aspiration at all. Why is it that we consider life according to a standard, to man as the standard? Isn't there something unique that the feminine has to offer society?
Let's hear from a woman at the back, because I think she wants to say something unique.
I'm an Arab, I'm a Muslim, I'm a woman, and I'm a Kuwaiti. And I'd like to congratulate all Kuwaiti women on the right to vote and nominate themselves. I totally agree with Dr. Tareq on what he said with regards to women and jihad and the right to choose. I think as a Muslim woman, I have the right to choose to go to jihad, to choose to work. I have the right to support my family.